Episode 93 done. We advocate quite highly for Apple once again.
Yeah, I mean, it was more you pushing it than me.
That's true, because I'm a big Apple fan. But you brought me into the Apple game, so...
Right.
Yeah. We look at the comfortability of our convenient tech.
Yeah, convenience.
And we look at psychological trends found within human beings.
And future products.
So have a listen and do what you do.
Yeah, enjoy. Here we go.
Boom. And we are back with another episode of Socratic Gamers. This is your weekly roundup. We talk about 4 things that we thought were cool from the week, and we dissect them in a Socratic method while Vish plays video games.
Yeah.
Hence the name Socratic Gamers. You like that intro?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I've been working on that over the years. It's been like honing itself down, but here we are. Okay, so before we get into the 4 topics, I just thought this was really cool. It's not going to be like a topic on its own, but I heard in a podcast. So, you know when you know how it's like nature versus nurture, and people are like, oh, it's both.
Mm-hmm.
So what they're actually finding is that your environment that you're in when you're pregnant affects the genetic makeup of the baby.
Okay.
So like nature, like the nature you're born with, is nurture.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like they are one and the same. I guess you can kind of argue that nurture is more dominant than nature then, because the environment shaped the genetic.
Right.
It's like the chicken and the egg. What came first?
Right.
Yeah.
We'll see. Is it or not? Yeah. I mean, you know.
No, scientific study. This is recent.
No. I know, but doesn't mean it's.
Let me explain, just in case you're like thinking about something. So basically, if the mom fights with the dad while she's pregnant, she'll release cortisol.
Oh yeah.
Which will affect the baby.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
That's what I meant.
Okay.
So it's like nature is dictated upon nurture.
Mm-hmm.
So how the mom is being treated, like chemically.
Of course.
Yeah, exactly. But it answers the question of like nature versus nurture. But they just found this out like scientifically.
Right.
See what I'm saying? Like, yeah.
Yeah, I think that was we thought that was possible.
It made the most sense, but there was no like research to back it up.
Right.
You know.
Okay.
So that's fascinating. Anyways, so 4 topics from the week. That was not one of them. I just thought it was really cool because I heard it in a podcast, so I want to throw that out there.
Okay.
I was gonna throw it out there before the podcast, but I was like, hey, other people might want to know this too.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. So anyways, so Vish, you're gonna go first. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, we talked about this a while ago, about PlayStation.
Oh, perfect. Okay, my next topic's gonna
5.
merge really well into this.
So there was an interview on The Wired.
Okay.
With the Mark Cerny guy. Mark Cerny guy was the one who helped make the PlayStation 4.
Okay.
And it was hugely successful. So Sony rehired him for helping design the PlayStation 5.
Nice. When's the PlayStation 5 coming out?
So talking about release date, all they said was it's not coming out in 2019.
Oh, that's cold.
That's all they said.
Right. True.
About the release date. But they did give us some other information that I guess if you're really into games and their graphics card and stuff like that, I guess those are. So of course, nicer graphics.
Okay.
Some.
Well, I mean that's like a given.
That's a given, right?
But you know what's weird about the graphics thing? It's like there's like an art style now that you're going for like crappier graphics. You know what I'm saying?
Not
like
necessarily.
No, not crappier, but less realism. So like there was a huge push in the time to go towards like realistic. Like if you look at Final Fantasy VII, if you look at Final Fantasy the series, they were trying to make it as real as possible. Yeah. And then now there's this resurgence of like Fortnite where it's like polygons. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah,
but then there's also at the same time there's other ones too that are.
Yeah, pushing the boundaries, of course.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's interesting that you would think that everything wanted to go.
Well, it's not necessarily exactly. It's not always about graphics. It's about me. I think the reason why that Fortnite's successful because of gameplay.
Yeah, all right, true. Feel that.
Like I think if gameplay and graphics are there, that's the great thing. But if
Apex Legends, you mean?
Mm-hmm.
Low plug. Apex.
Anyways, so graphics is of course a thing that's going to be improved. They're using some, again, if you're really into this, AMD Ryzen line. I have no idea what these things are.
Okay, cool. I'm sure you'll find out what they are and explain them.
So of course, like that's the one thing that's going to be for sure the part of the fundamental change. And then of course, as we know, a faster processor. And so something that we're saying was more like it's using the combination of GPU and CPU. This is, again, if you know what these things
What's
are.
a GPU?
The graphics processor and a CPU.
Oh, okay,
yeah. So I think it's using like a combining of both to make it speedier.
That's cool.
Meaning loading screens. Even right now, it still feels long, but potentially could be faster. Right. And then, so with that graphics card, so we talk about 1080p for these ones, and sometimes we can't even reach with today's graphics cards what we want, or what they thought that they could get to with the PS4, which was the 1080p with 60 frames per second.
Okay.
Right, but you can do that, I think, now with the Pro version. Anyway, so this one is now capable of doing 8K.
I've never even heard of 8K
Exactly.
before.
So there's, have you heard of 4K?
Yeah.
Yeah, so much bigger than that.
So like just more pixels?
Yeah, like you can have it on a huge size screen. Yeah.
You know what's crazy to think about? Like pixels are essentially like atoms.
Mm-hmm.
And like when we're seeing something, it's made up of millions and millions of pixels, just like millions and millions of atoms. Our brains are just like forming them into what we see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Like, or is there going to be like 16K in the future? 32K? Like,
of
holy.
course. Yeah, I mean, that's just how.
What realism level do we operate under in human world?
I don't know. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Exactly. It's like, is it going to beat that? And will we even be able to tell?
Well, I don't know if it'll
like
be
hyper realism.
Yeah, I don't know how if they could beat that, because we would have to see more than what they show.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's impossible. So
yeah.
so basically the maximum point that we're trying to achieve with graphics and visuals is like human realism.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't actually know what the K level is for that. Because
Right.
we thought it was 4K, and then all of a sudden 8K came out. So it's like, okay, what level of K do we see at?
But even with that, like the 4K isn't yet normal, like standard. I mean.
Oh, okay, true. Yeah.
So we still haven't reached it.
I personally don't like high res stuff, because like we were talking about with movies, when I watch the IMAX, I can tell they're wearing costumes. I don't like that.
Right.
Yeah. So,
I prefer high res.
Yeah.
I think that the thing with that is it's with that or with the frames per second. I think that's what for movies. I think it's difficult to play with the, like, I think the graphics wise is fine. It's just how many frames you're seeing at the same time. That's how like the smoothness of the screen is.
Yeah.
The movement kind of tells you if it's fake or not. Yeah. Yeah. I don't think there's many movies that do higher than 30 frames. Yeah. Most movies are 30 frames. But games sometimes need to be higher because, especially when you're playing competitive.
Right.
You need it at such a high level. Like people when they play Fortnite or when they play Apex, they're going above 120 if that screen can handle it. Yeah, and their graphics can handle it. 120 frames per second. Yeah, you need it that fast. Yeah.
People need to chill out.
You'll because I do see a little difference from what my screen is and what you'd see on a TV.
Right. Oh yeah, for sure.
Right. So you would easily tell. I think I haven't experienced that yet. The 120 frames. So that's what I need to get a new screen for.
Yeah. Invest.
So with that graphics, it's like now it's also they're using this word called ray tracing.
Okay.
Which just means better lighting and how they use the lighting
like light
to make
rays.
it. Yeah.
That's cool.
To make it look,
hyper real.
Yeah, make it look amazing. And then this, which was kind of cool, which is good. If you have PlayStation 4 games, you can also use them on PlayStation 5.
Oh, that's good. I hate the backwards compatibility.
Yeah.
I hated that when they took that away from Xbox.
But you can't use it with PS3 and PS4. So.
Yeah, there you go.
No, you could do it with the Xbox though, with this one, or the Xbox One. I mean.
Oh really?
Yeah.
So I could play
with
like Fable?
360. Yeah, as long as it was compatible. As long as they had made the compatibility or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. like you can easily do that. I think for most games they've covered it. I don't know for all.
That's cool.
So yeah, I think the backwards compatibility was a big thing, especially because especially when I buy digital games now, it's just better. It might as well should work on PlayStation 5.
True, yeah, for sure. Or they could just patch it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but again, the reason they couldn't bring in the PS3 was it used totally different types of like technology for graphics that it could not. These things cannot communicate with each other. So they're making when they made the PS4, they made it more like a PC because games can play old games, right? So they made it designed more like a PC, so you can have these sort of backward compatibilities. I think that's what they were already thinking about when they made the PS4.
That's cool.
Yeah, and then it works with the current VR. That's another thing they were saying. So there's no need to upgrade your VR.
Oh, that's also VR. Really good.
But I don't know how many people bought that. But that's also where I guess games are going, right?
Reducing the steps is super important. You don't want to have to make people buy a bunch of stuff.
Right, yeah.
Unless that's a part of your model, like business model.
Yeah, I just don't think... I think if you want people to upgrade quicker, I think this is the way you have to do it. Or else it'll take a longer time. And then, my assumption is, since they didn't say it's not coming out in 2019, so my assumption is probably 2020. And the thing I think what's going to happen is like games that they haven't announced for release dates yet, which is Last of Us, Death Stranding, and like Ghost of Tsushima. I think they will be on both platforms.
Oh, that's sick. Nice.
Yeah.
Does it not freak you out that we're almost at 2020? It's like we're so into the future right now. I remember like 1990, and we're like, oh, 2020 is gonna be crazy.
But yeah, I mean,
it is pretty crazy. No, honestly, like it is pretty crazy.
That's true. Yeah.
Actually,
it's been a while. We've been on this one for some time.
Which brings me to my top. But you're done?
Yeah.
All right. So this actually brings me to mind about like how crazy it actually is. So we don't really think about how far we've come technology-wise because we're in it, right?
Yeah.
So it's sort of like the frog that's like slowly boiling.
Okay.
Right? Like if you put a frog in water and then you slowly turn it up, they won't know that the heat's rising. They'll just like acclimate to it and they'll just die.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. So after playing Final Fantasy VII and then like realizing that there's like waypoints now and like you didn't have to memorize the story that much like when I was playing Witcher. Like Witcher's arguably the closest to those old school games where it's like you have to think, but still there was like waypoints, right? But Final Fantasy VII, there's no waypoints.
Yeah.
So it was like that's so touching upon that.
But that's evolution of games, though, right?
No. But it's the evolution of everything. So check this out.
Yeah.
So I also went to the ROM and then I was like washing my hands and then like. So there's like an external dryer and then like Tara was like, hey, did you see the tap that had the air dryer? And I was like, what are you talking about? So I went back in and I was like, there's these two pipes on the edges of the water pipe. And I thought it was just like I was like, oh, that's a weird looking pipe. But what you do is you wash your hands in the center, then you bring them to the side, and there's an air dryer.
Yeah, okay.
So it's like a 2-in-1.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And then another thing was like, we were trying to park, but it was raining. And then Tara's like, oh, too bad we just didn't get this app. So I was like, all right, I'll just use some data. I'll get the app for the parking. And I'm like, holy crap. We just kept driving around the city. I just kept like hitting park on it. And it would just like charge me. The only thing I don't like is prepay. So you have to like add money to it. It's kind of annoying.
Okay.
But like, that's like a small issue. But what I'm saying is,
I think it'll change eventually. Like that's where the Apple Pay comes in. So
that's what I'm saying,
dude.
And we're slowly moving towards a convenience culture. We didn't even know it. So
of
like,
course.
But it's a mind blow because
like
it's like if you're like you think about like 1990s. Right, like we were little kids, and then you're like, "Oh, I wonder what the future's gonna be like." And then we're here now, and we're like, "Oh, the future's no different from what we had in the '90s." And it's like, no, actually, it's way different. You know, like people were like, "Oh, I thought I'd see flying cars by now." It's like, dude, you were like attaching to the smallest thing, but if you look how far technology has come.
Yeah, I mean, '90s there was no iPhone, and I think
that's
iPhone
what I'm saying. Like,
changed,
holy crap,
that was the thing—a computer in your hand, right? That was the thing that changed everything.
It's the boiling frog thing again. It's like we didn't know that this was happening. But if you actually take a moment to see how far you've come, you're like, damn.
Of course. Yeah.
Like, we are in the future, bro.
Well,
you know?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Like,
if you think of it from their perspective, we're still not in the future.
No, for sure. Right. Well, all right, yeah, true. What I'm saying is, like, we've evolved so much further than we would like to think as a society. You know?
Yeah, yeah, we forget because we don't think of it like that. We forget the past, right?
But sure. But that's why I always make it like a practice in myself to, like, that sounds so like esoterically hippie, but like I always try to remember how far we've come, because like if you don't remember the past, then you're liable to taking things for granted.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's how I feel.
Yeah.
So I try and like do that consciously, do that. But it's so trippy. Like I remember the first computer being like a brick, and now I have this like thin laptop that's running like 2 screens.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and like dial-up internet was so bad. Like if somebody picked up the phone, game over for your internet.
Yeah.
Remember that? And do you remember that old school game, the cross country? It was huge back in my elementary school. So it'd be like
a game.
Yeah, you'd have to type in commands.
I think I know what you're talking about.
You know what I mean? It'd be like go to the left, and then it would like go there and like, okay, pick up this thing. It would be like you'd be writing commands to execute things,
Mm-hmm.
like execute actions.
Yeah.
But now we have like this controller that's like, you know, I can't wait to see where like VR is gonna take it, or like if instead of we have controllers, now we have like sensory gloves.
Mm-hmm.
You know, wouldn't that be crazy? And it's like you just point to, you think where you want to go, point to where you want to go.
Someone was working on that or something like that.
Yeah, it's the HoloLens. I was showing you the. Yeah. Like that would be crazy, or like if they like attach you to like a neural setup, like brainwaves, and then it's like you're not even like moving the character, you are the character.
Yeah.
You like if you want to move left, you just think you're moving left, and then your character will move left. Like.
Yeah.
I think that's so nuts. Like we don't realize how much potential there is.
Mm-hmm.
But it's almost like we're heading towards that like dystopian future as well, where everyone, like if you watch what's that movie, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Total Recall.
Yeah.
And they're on Mars and stuff, and like they live in these domes.
Yeah.
If global warming gets to that point where it's really bad, like we might end up living in domes. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
But it's like, again, technology brought us here. Technology's saving us. We're in a dystopian future. We're like, not robots, but essentially robots. We are in like our futuristic thing.
Yeah.
Worlds that we didn't even.
Of course. Yeah, I mean, of course. But like, yeah. But it'll be the same for anybody, right? Like even for the kids now, they don't know what we went through, but they'll see a change.
Yeah, for sure.
Right, everyone will see a change.
Yeah,
it is inevitable.
Yeah, and I like to appreciate that. That's really cool.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was my topic.
Oh yeah, talking about future technology.
Oh, cool. You got one.
Yeah. So, Samsung Galaxy Fold.
Fold?
Yeah, like a fold.
Oh my god!
Phone. I
saw this video, Nokia, a long time ago. It was like a wristband that you can like. It was a phone.
About this before,
yeah. Is it that what it is?
Well, we're not at that bendable yet. We're getting there.
Oh my
I think.
goodness. Okay.
So, I mean, there's also problems with it. So my main thing is they already announced this last year, I think, and then they are giving out. It should be coming out soon to the regular consumer, but it's it was released to the reviewers. It was given to the reviewers.
Oh, that's cool.
But then, not many days after, not all, and it's not for all of them. There are some of them that started to, because it's a first edition, started to have problems.
Oh, yeah.
Like sometimes, most of the time Samsung likes to be first to the market, I guess.
Okay. Yeah.
Not necessarily having, like that's the idea of Apple. Apple's not first, but like makes it.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So of course there's going to be.
That's a great
possible
like
issues.
Thought. Like different ways to like run your company and stuff. It's like one's like, oh, let's be first to the market,
yeah,
and then the other one's like
the recent thing with Apple's AirPower. Instead of releasing a bad product, they just canceled it. Like it's not working out.
Yeah,
and they might as well deal with the ramifications of that than dealing with the bad PR issue.
Yeah, true. I like that. I like that a lot. Right. So anyway,
So, it started to, like, for some people, what happened was the review units, they didn't have this information. Like, you know how we have a screen protectors on our phone?
Yeah.
And you can easily remove that.
Yeah.
So they thought there was a screen protector on it, but that thing was meant to stay on the screen to protect the OLED screen that's on there.
Oh, I see.
And when they removed it, it just bricked the phone.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
So that's
fascinating.
Yeah. And then it's cool that it was folding, and then the way they're trying to show, like, it's not going to break for folding. They did like 1,000 folds or something like that, and then like over usage, nothing's going to happen. But the way it's built, there in the hinge part at the back, one of the reviewers had like a bulge start to happen on the screen side. So if dust or something got into it, then it reached to the top of the screen, and it made
kind of annoying.
Yeah. But the thing is, the phone is $2,000 American.
Okay, pass, good sir.
And
that's expensive.
Well, yeah, it's like two phones, right? But put together.
Okay.
What I like about foldable phones, it's so instead of buying two things, so instead of buying a tablet and a phone, you can have a tablet and phone together, basically.
Okay.
Right. So when you fold it, you have a screen on the inside, on the outside, just as a normal phone, and then when you open it up, it'll open up like a tablet.
Okay.
And it'll be like a full. So it's like you're paying the same amount if you think of it that way.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Right. Instead of buying two products, you buy one.
Well, why would you buy two phones? Like.
No, it's not two phones.
No, I know. No, your comparison. I'm saying you're like, oh, it's like buying two phones. I'm like, but I wouldn't buy two phones.
I mean how it's designed. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Right,
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, but it's like no. What I'm saying is you're buying like a phone and a tablet on one thing.
It's like that's why we have the iPhone.
Well, I mean,
6 Plus. Yo.
Of course. But the point is you can have it even bigger.
Who likes pluses? The 6 Plus.
I think a lot of people.
I saw like.
There's a lot of people that have it.
Yeah, I was watching like Jaden Smith's Icon video or Batman video or something, and then he had it, and I was like, who has that? Like,
a lot of people.
Why? It just seems so like that's too brick for me.
I know.
What I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not feeling that. Sorry, keep going. Just side.
Actually, I don't even think you need to go that big now because now they have the full size screen that you don't need.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly. Yeah,
really
like that seemed more logical to me than buying a giant phone.
Yeah.
It's not even a phone anymore. It's like a mini iPad.
Yeah, it's like an iPad mini. Yeah.
It's like a mini
iPad.
It's like a mini iPad.
mini iPad. Yeah. So, like for me, what I think it's like I like that it's going in this direction, or at least they're trying something. I don't mind that. But I also just design it right too. It's just now you have something to deal with now as a company. Fix problems. Now you got to deal with the PRs. Well, again, it's up to them. If that's what they want to do.
Wait,
right?
what was it? Samsung?
Yeah.
Yeah, but Samsung is kind of like that. Like, you know what I mean? It's like okay, if you want like a phone that you don't have to worry about, get an iPhone. But if you want to be trendy and hip and like try and like customize your phone, go get a Samsung. That's how I feel. It's like if you want performance, go get an iPhone. But if you want customization, go get your Samsung.
they would be.
But like, it's like who you think you are, bro?
Yeah.
It's like,
and also they were saying like not all apps, because this is Android, not all apps are even like
it makes sense to me if you're like a software engineer and you're like, hey, check out my amazing phone that's way better than an iPhone. I'd be like, yeah, true, but you're a software engineer. But if you're just like a regular person, why would you not get the iPhone? I don't understand it.
But everyone was praising it though.
Everyone's
What,
the iPhone?
No, the foldable phone.
No, but I mean like Samsung in general, like Samsung versus iPhone. Like I don't see the purpose of a Samsung.
But that's coming from us as iPhone users. So I mean, if you talk to an iPhone or a Samsung person.
Yeah, but like explain to me why you like Samsung better. Like the biggest thing that I've ever heard, because I always ask people like, why do you choose Samsung? They're like, because I don't like iPhones. I'm like, why? Because like they're controlling you. I'm like, man, come on.
I don't know what that means. They're controlling you.
Yeah, they want you to be a part of your ecosystem, and then if you're a part of the ecosystem, you have to buy every single product. But it's like, yeah, but you're in the ecosystem because it works.
Yeah, that's the
like,
point.
we're not trying to take all of your. We are trying to take all your money, but simultaneously, it's
Of
like
course,
trying
yeah.
to by giving you the best service, and the only way to give you the best service is to control it.
I mean,
so
this
we
is
can
yeah.
address
That's the oldest
situations.
thing that this is what I've been looking for actually for the longest time. That's why I would always try to buy only Sony products.
Okay.
Try to get that ecosystem that
Right,
I
right,
wanted,
yeah,
right?
yeah, for sure.
But then they didn't do it that well because they were using other software that wasn't made from them, right?
Right.
So that's why I went to Apple. I realized that Apple was doing it like exactly what I needed them to do.
It's like your Dell, yeah. Right.
Yeah, I tried to do it with Dell. It just didn't work because they
Yeah.
didn't make the they didn't make like the software, right?
But that's what I'm saying. It's like, I don't understand. I kind of feel like, I feel objectively, people who choose iPhones are
Or they don't
more objective
Yeah.
than. That's funny. Objectively more objective. I was gonna say like not dumb, but then I was like that's kind of like rude, so I went with objective.
Yeah.
But like, I
But also, I mean,
unless you're a software engineer, like I know some people that are like, oh, I really like I create like these custom apps and
Right,
like
right.
my phone is way better than the iPhone. Solid, that makes sense, you know. Like, but if you're doing it for a completely like hedonic reason of like I don't want to be a conformist, that's not a good enough answer for me. But I mean, people also live the life they want to live, so like yeah, you stay in the.
but
dark
also,
ages,
you know,
friend.
I mean, most times I think generally what happens is because it's cheaper.
Yeah,
Samsung.
but it's like, or what was that? An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of a cure. So it's like, yeah, it might be cheaper now, but then you're gonna be like, oh, I wish I had that app. Like, yeah, you do wish you had that app, bro. Now go buy an iPhone. You know what I mean? Like the Apple Pay and like the
Well, they have it too. Samsung.
Apple Cash thing that you were saying, like,
Right.
Like,
That
come on,
they
man.
don't have
There's,
that.
Exactly. There's so many benefits to the iPhone. Like, come on, guys, get with it.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
we are still the minority though.
Which I find kind of ridiculous. But also, is that like minority in Canada or like the world?
No, the
like,
world.
yeah, so like if Asia's buying it, it's because they don't want. Like if you look at that number, it's like where are they coming from, and you have to look at the politics within that region. So like China makes up.
But even
world
in
market.
China at the time when it started, when they were buying the phones, were mainly because
Yeah, no, but it's
a
like
status symbol. Actually, it wasn't really anything about the phone.
right, but isn't Samsung Asian?
No, but the status symbol of Apple, I'm talking about.
Yeah, but also like
And Samsung is Korean, but yeah.
yeah, but still Asian. Like support your Asian roots.
I think they do well in Korea.
What, Samsung?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
nationalistic
well
pride
now
makes sense.
same thing in China actually. That people are buying Huawei phones.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly. It's like it's nationalistic pride. It has nothing to do with. Actually, I haven't used a Huawei phone, so like maybe. they're
It's an Android
amazing.
phone.
Oh, I don't like Androids.
They all use the same Android.
They just don't want.
I mean, Google was brilliant in that aspect. They sold it for free.
They just don't want Western Europeans to take over the world. Because like Apple, right?
Well,
So,
I mean, Huawei is banned in America, right? They can't sell it in America.
there you go. Is it because of like breach of
I
privacy?
just read.
or
I
is
just
it-
read. It was just the title of the article.
economics?
I just read the title of the article. They were saying that I think it was CIA saying that China's security company or like their CIA or whatever put money into making Huawei. So they're like, we cannot trust them.
Ugh. Yeah, but like, dude, there's so much stuff going on that like the whole social media thing, right? Like them selling your information to marketers. That's really a thing.
Yeah. That's,
Trust me, that's really a thing.
no, of
Like,
course. I
I've
think
been
we know
on it.
that. I think we know
It's
that.
a real thing.
Yeah.
But it's like, so if you're cool with that, how come you're not cool with the, the
Well,
Huawei
I mean,
thing?
it's the
like,
country that's not allowing it to sell. People would buy it. People are buying it. Like, it's allowed to be sold here, I believe, Huawei phones. So.
Yeah.
It's just
Well,
not sold. Like, the
not sold in
American
America.
government is the one that's blocking it.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, not the people. It's the American government are blocking it from being sold.
Yeah, but I wonder if that's like it's like an economic reason. I
I
don't
think
think
so.
it's like. I don't know.
Could be. Who knows?
I don't know. Like the more you delve deep into like the histories of like nations, it's like gang warfare, you know? Like you're fortifying your zones, you're trying to keep your money, you're trying to like tax people, which is like you call it taxing, but it's really like a cut, you know? We get a cut of everything you do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like this. So it's like I'm skeptical with everything that I hear in terms of like banning and stuff. Like what's the real reason?
I'm just wondering.
You know?
It's just funny that we do that. That America did that with Huawei, but not Samsung.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Exactly.
Not like Japanese phones.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly.
It's just because
we have stronger trade deals. Maybe like, you know.
Or they trust them more than. Well, they have bases in Korea and.
Yeah, so
Japan,
there you go. So it's like,
but they don't trust.
like they're painting the picture in terms of security for us, but in reality, it's about like economic reasons, which are totally fine. Like, I mean, business is business. Business is business. You know, so like whatever. I'm not like harping on you guys or anything.
No,
just like
it's just funny.
Yeah. Which actually brings me to the next topic about social heuristics.
Okay.
So like, you know what heuristics mean?
No.
So basically, it's like you make they're like stereotypes. You're making your decision off of a guess of like information that you have from the past.
Okay.
But so like people are like, oh, heuristics are bad because it leads to like stereotyping, biases, whatever. But the reason why we have heuristics is because we can't know full well or accurately what's going to happen in the future. So we use all the information we've gathered to make a guess.
Okay.
Right? And like we do that with everything in society. And I find that like interesting that we're a society of it goes back to the Huawei thing. It's like if instead of giving you the truth, I'm going to present the narrative in a way that will appeal to your heuristics.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And like realizing that everything is a heuristic because you can never know the certainty of the future. Then it's like, are we not just a gullible species?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like you can easily that's why I like marketing, because you can like hijack the human reward system or like the tendencies of what we do as humans and like shape it in a specific way. Yeah. And I think, you know, it's always important to keep that in mind.
I guess, yeah. I don't know.
But we do with everything. It's like, that's why resumes are so important. Think about it.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, I'm going to read this thing, and I'm going to guess off of this piece of paper that you're going to be perfect for the job.
Right.
But you don't know that.
No.
Until after the fact. And you're like 4 months in, you're like, dude, this person sucks.
Yeah, well, that's why they have 3 months.
Probationary?
Yeah.
But then you also have to go with cognitive dissonance, which is like, well, you've been here for 3 months, you've established relationships, we can't really let you go. We can if you mess up really hard, but then it's like wrongful dismissal clauses. You know what I'm saying?
It happens, I think, actually.
I'm just saying, it's like we are a species of imagination. And that's what separates us in the animal kingdom. But also, like, it adds to our suffering as well.
Yeah.
You know? I remember when this one funny story, but like, it's weird how people don't tap into this, right? So like, unless you do like study in it or like introspection, so I was like, so dumb. I was like still early in my marketing like studies, and then I went to the store. I was teaching martial arts, and then I came back, and then my instructor, who was like watching over me, my head instructor, he was like, "Oh, what took you so long?" And I was like, I was trying to figure out what pop defined me as a person. And then he's like, "What are you talking about?" Yeah, exactly. And he's like, "What are you talking about?" And I'm like, the pop choice that I've chosen suggests to other people what kind of person I am.
Oh, okay.
And he's like, no, you're thinking about that way too. And I was like, no, because like Coke kind of suggests like, okay, you're like a team player, you're solid, like everyone drinks Coke. But if you choose something like Mountain Dew Blue Crush, people are like, what? So weird. And you're like, yeah, I'm an outsider, I'm kind of weird.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But so like, it sounds crazy, and I know you're chuckling a bit.
No, it's true.
It's true, right?
It's true.
So like, and he was like, all right, you're overthinking this. And I was like, I'm not, but you don't understand, right? And then recently, not really recently, like I guess a year ago, I found out about semiotics. So semiotics is like signals that you give to other people in order to express who you are as a person without them having to get to know you. Heuristics. You know what I'm saying? So like, I have this tattoo now, and like people are like, oh, he must be XYZ, or like, oh, I'm wearing hoodies, he must be XYZ. That's also kind of the reason why I hated going to business school and wearing like suits, because it was like, you're just judging me off the merit of my suit. I think it's more funny if I'm the smartest person in the room, but I'm wearing like a hoodie.
Right.
You know, because it's like a juxtaposition, and like mind fucks people.
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
love that about like
of course.
society. And it makes you like second guess. But it's weird how like I've been doing that for a while.
Yeah.
And then now like looking at the position I am, or like whatever, and like I'm still doing it. But like it's just hijacking perception.
Yeah.
You know? And we do that all the time. Like companies do it all the time. Like the credit card. Remember, I was like, there's the Canadian Tire credit card that I had, and I was like, oh, it's so ugly, I don't want to use this. But then they sent like, oh, new rebranding, we're calling it the Triangle now, and they sent me the credit card. It looks so awesome. The rewards are the same, everything about it's the same, but I'm like, I'm gonna use this credit card more, simply because it looks badass compared to my other credit cards.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Again, heuristics.
Yeah.
We're like, I guess you could say that's like voting. That's like everything. That's why Trump is so popular, you know?
Well, there's different reasons, but yeah.
No, but he's hijacking perception.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I mean.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like, yeah, what was that one that he posted?
I mean,
I was like, that's pretty genius.
He came at the right time, though, I think. In the sense of people wanted something different and not the establishment anymore.
Yeah, so he's biding his time now. Because he ran for presidency before, right? Yeah. Yeah, so he was biding his time. He's like, now's the time to strike.
Yeah.
He's like the snake with a long memory in the 48 Laws of Power. You know?
Okay.
Never forget. But yeah, fascinating.
Yeah.
So I guess my final thought would be understand that you're being controlled by your perceptions, and then be open to the possibility of change.
Okay. Yeah.
Because if you don't realize that you're being controlled by your perceptions, then you think you're correct.
Yeah.
So then you won't change. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But if it's like, oh, this could be a subjective bias that I'm viewing right now, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Final thoughts?
No, don't believe what you see. I don't know.
And that's why it's important not to buy that foldable phone. Because it looks super futuristic and high tech, but don't believe everything you see.
Well, for me as an Apple guy, there's a lot of design flaws that I see.
For sure.
The tech wise is cool, but
see, that's why I think that's why we like Apple, because it's so objective. You know, it's like there's no, like, I'll admit when I first bought my Mac, I was like, oh, this just means I'm artsy, you know, because it's got like editing capabilities. But like after using it, it's like, no, it's just the better system.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Objectivity
depends on what you're using it for, I guess.
Yeah, again, like if you're a software engineer, it's like, no, don't get the Mac, because then you can't like tweak it.
I mean, depends on what
what can you tweak on the Mac?
No, I mean,
it's like
it's all code, right?
No, but I mean, like, you can't add in new processors after the fact. You can't open it up and then tweak it.
Well, not for Macs, but for they might be bringing out one for the one they had before for the CPU one.
Oh, okay.
which was possibly upgradable before.
Oh, really? Oh, that's cool.
So they might be bringing. I think they're working on that one to release one for the pro versions.
Oh, that's cool. Because I was looking at it for my
for making it upgradable.
I was looking for my MacBook Pro because I was like, oh, I wish I could like upgrade a bit more.
Yeah, they used to have
like,
one, but that's like not for laptops though. Just can't do it for laptops. But
see, that's why I had to buy the most expensive one because I'm like, I need everything because I know that, you know, like,
yeah.
I can't change it after the fact, so we might as well get the best one, you know. But that could just be psychological too. Maybe they're trying to do that for that reason. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't edit it after, and if you rely on this as a tool, it's like, well, we'll force people to not upgrade later. I don't know.
Well, I mean,
That's
most
some crazy conspiracies.
no, but most of their consumers are not like that though.
Editors?
Yeah.
Yeah, true. No. Yeah.
Like most
course,
of the consumers, just normal people.
Honestly,
that don't care about that.
If I didn't do the stuff that I did, I would just buy an iPad. I don't see any reason for a laptop. If I wasn't doing what I do.
Yeah,
You know
that's
what
what I'm saying.
If you're not running a business or something, or like.
So that's what I'm saying. Like they're not selling necessarily. They're just these products, or they're I don't know how they design
Yeah,
the pricing process, but yeah. But that's just Apple.
So go Apple. Go Apple.
Yeah.
All right. Till next week. No movies coming out. Oh.
Well,
Avengers,
there is a
but-
movie, but
Well,
we won't
don't
be able
have
to watch it
time. Yeah. So
on that weekend.
we'll do that movie review
Following week, I guess.
the following week. So stay tuned for that. I hear it's 3 hours, and that's crazy.
Yeah.
It's like, how much?
How
can
long
you-
was the one in Infinity War? I don't know. That was long
It
too.
was
no?
like
2.5.
7 hours. I'm just kidding.
You gotta watch it together.
Yeah, totally. Oh man, that would be really cool to watch. Like when this is done, to do like a whole Marvel thing and watch all of the series to like see.
I think
it
there was
lead up.
like 12 movies or something like that.
That's crazy.
I'll
I
do
mean,
it
that's
when
almost,
they.
like, too nerdy
I'll
for
do
me.
it on Disney Plus.
Oh, shout outs Disney Plus coming out soon.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
Till next week. Take it easy.
Peace.
Bye.